Hey everybody, I'm going to fix a light here. We're just before 3 o'clock, so let's wait for a couple of people to join, and then I just sent it out on Instagram, so we've got both Instagram and YouTube going. If you're on YouTube, feel free to chat in, let me know you're here, let me know where you're coming from. Greetings to those joining on Instagram. So we have YouTube going as well. And we'll get started here momentarily. First Sunday in January. I don't know why I think that's such a big deal. It just seems like it should be. Would be. Hola, mi hermana. Thank you for joining. Okay. Who else do we have here? Oh, look at Deanna's here. I made it. You did indeed. Welcome, welcome. Great. And we've got the West Coast. We've got Australia chiming in. I don't know if anyone's on there from the East Coast or Canada or Latin America, Europe. People come from all over. It's exciting. Southern California, yeah. So everybody doing well as we have started this 2021. I hope everyone is off to a good start, feeling good, feeling positive, feeling energized, and probably quite exhausted, quite frankly. So. Okay, so I think we still have a few more people joining, but we are going to get started. The one thing I wanted to talk about at the beginning was the fact that we're in a numerological year of 5. So if you add up 2021, it comes to 5. Hey, Kathy. And so I work with tarot numerology and angel numerology, and then sometimes I pull in some other schools of thought. But in terms of how I operate with numerology, 5s represent change, and they represent conflict coming from opposing forces all happening at the same time. Not necessarily that they are pushing against each other intentionally, although we don't rule that out. But if you have all of these forces coming at the same time, we tend to have that conflict. And so that's where 5s come from. It's uncertainty for sure. And but from that, we can get freedom. So being in 2021, the 5 in tarot is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant, when the Hierophant shows up in a reading, the Hierophant is our bridge to as above, so below. It's our inner and our outer, and it's how we bring those two together. The Hierophant is, I wrote down a quote from a book because I think it really encapsulates the idea very perfectly, is the true spiritual insight transcends earthbound authority. That's what the Hierophant does. So in the Hierophant, we have tradition, we have dogma, we have what were you taught? What did you grow up believing? Because it happens at the beginning of tarot and the Fool's journey. So it's when the Fool is still formulating and learning, right? And so the Fool needs to have some guidance and some lessons. And so that happens in the year of the Hierophant. But it's about authority and superiority for sure, and can often be resistant to change. The Hierophant is ruled by Taurus. And if any of you know a Taurus, you know they can be stubborn and resistant to change. So that's sort of a typical Hierophant, but the Hierophant also asks you to, I just saw the clock go 444. Yes. The Hierophant also asks you to ask the question, like, is this for me? So again, it's transcending right? It's taking spiritual insight, transcending earthbound authority. So it's asking you to say, is this for me? Is everything that I have, everything that I've learned, everything, I'm going to use a really simple example, and this is not to offend anyone at all. But say you, I was going to use an example, and then I decided actually maybe I won't use that one. So say before you go to bed, right? As kids, we learned, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul. I cannot even believe I just remembered that. Wow, don't even know when the last time I repeated that was. But for example, you say these things. You say them because it's what you were taught. It's what you've been doing. It's where you think you're safe. It's where, you feel anchored, because as a human person, we find repetition and, tradition to typically be a comfortable place for us. Well, the Hierophant is saying, is that really the right place for you? And can you find your own beliefs? They can be shaped by all of those things for sure. But can you really ask the question, and can you find that belief for yourself? So when we see the other side of the Hierophant, it is being open to new ideas. It is being risk-taking, and it is awakening. And that's where we want to go. It wants to be inventive. And so the Hierophant is saying, and so the reason why I think this year, 2021 being the 5, is about integrating. It's about integrating everything that you were, that you knew, that came with you, figuring out where all of that really stands, what is true for you, and then integrating that into you, who you are. Can you find your true star, your heart, your own beliefs, and take what you need and integrate and leave the rest behind? Because the other piece of the Hierophant is about going out in community and finding your tribe, right? It's about connecting with other resources. So be it classes or books or groups, social groups, but it's connecting on an equal, all of us being equal versus being superior. It's about being one with all beings, is what the Hierophant is. So given that we are in this Aquarian that we just came through, right? Which Saturn and Jupiter are still in Aquarius. They're going to be there for a while. And that whole awakening concept, which is about community and moving away from the one. We're now in 2021, which is the Hierophant. And that other side of the Hierophant is to say, we're not like this anymore. We don't, and I wrote this, or I said this in my New Year reading, we're not having to establish ourselves above someone else. We are all equal. And can we see ourselves in everyone else? So that's that. In terms of going into this year, I think these first couple of months is certainly what astrologists are saying. The first couple of months are actually going to be quite challenging. But think about it, there's not a switch at midnight on 12/31. So this would make sense for us that we are transitioning. This would make sense that we still need to do some more work in processing. Carolina, no puedo creer. We're still processing 2020. We still have to let some of that go and really open into 21. And that's what's going to be taking place these next couple of months. So, and then of course we have the solstice in March. So, okay. That's what I wanted to say there. Okay. In terms of going ahead for the reading, I created one of my own little readings. And I thought instead of doing the cards for the week, I had 3 questions that I wrote down. How can we let go of limitations so we can step into our truth? How do we embrace positivity and optimism, which is where we want to be moving, but we have to step into our truth in order to be able to embrace positivity and optimism And how can we remain open to what is to come, because it's coming, right? Okay, so that's what I've got. Those are the cards I'm going to pull. And I thought I would use Oracle of the Fairies for that. And then, so as you know, or if you're new here, I'm going to pull cards for those 3 questions, I guess we can call them. And then after that, I will pull cards for any questions you all have or requests for cards for just general guidance, okay? So first of all, thanks everybody for joining. If it is your first time here, welcome, welcome. And I am Noelle, that is my name, here with Cards with Crystals. So I appreciate you being here. And if you are returning, as many of you are, I appreciate you being here. Okay, so let's pick the cards back up and let's get to my questions of how can we let go? Let go of limitations to step into our truth. Let go of limitations to step into our truth. Oh boy, everybody, it's a doozy. Okay, how can we embrace positivity and optimism? Can we embrace positivity and optimism? And then how can we remain open to what is to come? So it may sound like I'm mumbling. I guess I sort of do. Thank you, whoever liked the video. I appreciate that. So please, if you do like my videos, I always ask if you could like, comment, or share. That helps other people connect here. So thank you. Okay, let's get. So in terms of letting go of limitations to step into our truth, there were 2 cards that came from there. Of course they would be. Ooh, look at one of these showed up in a reading we just did. So letting go of limitations to step into our truth. The first one is precious time. The precious time. Instagram for you, backwards, as always. YouTube, precious time. Trying to get you without a reflection. And then the other one is tree wisdom. Remember, we're working with Oracle of the Fairies. Tree wisdom. So I'll get to these cards in just a moment. Here's tree wisdom. Okay. So precious time, the fairy of time wants you to experience every moment fully and to make the most of your precious time. Be mindful not to waste others' time either. And then tree wisdom. This tree dryad will help you navigate through your current situation. Her flute can reveal insights and answers through the sound it makes. So how can we let go of limitations to step into our truth? Precious time, experience every moment fully. So our limitations can also be what I was talking about, that routine that we go into, that sorry, I just got distracted. Thank you for joining. The routine that we're in, what we find ourselves saying all the time. Whenever a situation comes up, how we respond out of habit, we respond out of comfort. But the truth of the matter is we're probably not really that comfortable with that. So this is saying experience every moment fully. So make sure that in the moment, your response is true to the moment and not coming from a contrived place of habit or, of repetition, right? And be mindful of not to waste other people's time. So stepping into your truth is, being mindful of what you do in respect for other people as well. In terms of tree wisdom, navigate through the current situation. So that's still going back into the present moment in the current situation, navigating through it as it is in that moment versus what you may think it would be, what you think it should be, what you wish that it is, but it's not, right? So this is saying current situation, be in the present moment, and pay attention to what you can glean from that. What insights come from that? What do you learn from that? What do you feel being in that present moment? So in terms of letting go of the limitations, it's saying get here, right now, and experience that. Because the limitation comes from always operating this way and not being open. And this Hierophant is asking us to be open. Okay, the next card. How can we embrace more positivity and optimism, or our positivity and optimism, or some positivity and optimism, maybe a relative term? Friendship. Fairies and humans alike need friends. Now is the time to seek out those who will support and encourage you on your journey to fulfill your dreams. So here you have Instagram, here you have YouTube. So in terms of embracing optimism and positivity, it goes back to what I was saying about the Hierophant, about seeking out your tribe, seeking out the people around you who resonate with you in the direction that you want to be going. If you feel like you're weighted down, if you feel like you're seeing that crack in, like, I know I keep falling back into the same loop, but I feel like I don't want to be there, right? It's hard to get out of there if you're surrounded by people who support that lower vibration. So this is saying, find the people that can support you and who align with you. Doesn't mean they agree with you, right? They align with you in truth. Find them, and that will raise the vibration, which of course lifts our positivity and optimism, because we're all seen as one, right? Do you see that? I do. Okay, last card. How can we remain open to what is to come? Pure intention. Oh, Oracle of the Fairies, I am loving you right now. Pure intention. The fairy of manifestation will help you to use your wishes wisely. Manifest your heart's desire with pure intention and for the highest good of all. This is just so perfectly in alignment with everything we were just talking about. So being open to what is to come, and that is to be pure in your intention. What is it that you want to manifest? But get to know that by, and it's sort of a little bit of what I'm messing around with on Instagram about who are you. That's just sort of coming out as it comes out. I have no big plan for that. But getting to your pure intention is understanding who are you? And can you work through your fears? Can you work through your perceived abilities versus your real inner strength, right? Can you find your deep, deep desires that really are who you are? Can you get there? Because if you can get there, your intentions are going to come from that place. Your energy to manifest is going to come from that place. And that is how you remain open to what is to come. I know, Kathy, right? Wow, I know. I love it. So those are the cards for this week. And and they're really for going forward. They're not necessarily for this week. And as I said, I wanted to do something a little bit different because I felt like looking at the number 5, which can be a challenge, but again, it's about your perception and how do you perceive a challenge. But if you can be right here, right now, in this present moment, then you can see the challenge for what it is. You can find what's in there that's useful to you, because remember, I know it sounds cliche, but you don't get dealt a challenge if there isn't something that you need to take from that. Doesn't mean it cannot freaking break your heart. Doesn't mean it cannot hurt terribly, right? It doesn't. But there's something in there, and can we get there? And sometimes getting there is going deep down, ugly, dirty despair. It's life. It's our journey. But the way we have to find that deep, deep desire is to go there. Okay. Kathy Laurie is saying hello from the IG side. Look at me. I'll be the hierophant between IG and YouTube. Okay. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, it's a wonderful way to consider the path ahead. I really think so. I really think so. Because, you know, it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? We complicate it with all of the conditioning. That's how we complicate it. We don't even know what we're doing half the time because that's just what we were brought up to do, right? Our culture, our religion, our social groups, our economic status, our ethnicity. Like, we were told these things. Do we have to believe them? No, we don't. But it takes work, right? Okay. Okay, so let's get moving to opening up to questions or requests for cards for general guidance. So if you have a question, put it in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Instagram. Instagram, you do have the opportunity to go live with me. It's a little tricky for, not so bad actually, for YouTube. They can't see, but they can still hear. You do have the opportunity to do that. Sometimes people click the go live little icon, but that really isn't what they mean. And then when I ask if they want to go live, they're like, no, not me. So put it out there. Anybody, let me know. Laurie, Kathy says hello. Okay. And if you don't have questions, that is okay too. That was quite a lot for the first few minutes here. So, Alice, could you have a card on taking a leap of faith? And then Laurie, I see you on a card. So Alice, a card on taking a leap of faith. I feel like I have to go to Oracle of the Fairies for that. So we have Alice, Laurie, and Kathy. So let's do that. So can we have a card for Alice on taking a leap of faith? Card for Alice. Taking a leap of faith. Alice. Magical blessings. Whatever you're going through, you're being assisted by magical fairy blessings. The fairies say you can bless others too. So in terms of taking a leap of faith, do it. You have all the support around you. Here you go, YouTube. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. It's as if the fairies are throwing you up in the air, isn't it? Like, go ahead, go do it. So take the leap of faith. Sometimes when we overthink things, when we think that, you know, you really have to calculate all your steps. You have to know steps 1 to 10 before you can take half of one. We become paralyzed. We can't do anything. And so sometimes we have to just take the leap of faith and know that that is, again, it goes back to that pure intention. If you can come from a place of pure intention, then taking the leap of faith, you can feel greater supported because you know you're doing it in your highest good. You know it's coming from a place of pure intention versus this little thing, and I'm not pointing to my third eye, I'm pointing to my lower mind, running the show. That's where we stop and like something in the heart goes, oh yeah, you think you should be doing that, but it's really not what you're supposed to be doing. And then your mind starts to get, you know, cluttered and you don't have great clarity and the two start conflicting, right? We need to be able to transcend those as the Hierophant does. Okay. Laurie, you're welcome, Alice. Laurie, loved one, please. Yes, ma'am. And I am going to give you an option, if you can answer quickly. Did you want Oracle of the Unicorn or did you want Soul's Journey? So for Laurie, Oracle of the Unicorn or Soul's Journey? Okay. I see Kathy and Deanna there, so I will get you two next. Laurie, I'm going with Soul's Journey. Card for Laurie for Soul's Journey. Oh, did you? You just typed that. Perfect. Soul's Journey. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, let's get back here. Soul's Journey. I have a card for Laurie. There we go. Okay. My goodness. My goodness. Is this not the third time this card has shown up? I know. This is the third time this card has shown up in a row. Envy. Envy. I swear it's the, there are other cards in this deck. I just want to let you know. You probably think that the only card in there is envy because it's the only one that's been popping up. But there are other cards. So I am the same as everybody but with different challenges. And I think that goes right back to the whole Hierophant message of being the same as everyone. Can we be one with every being versus seeing others as superior to us or us as superior to others? Can we be one? And I think that's what this message is saying, is we all have different paths, we all have different challenges, we all have different successes, we all see things different ways. But if we can see ourselves as one with everyone, then there's no judgment there. Nor is there judgment about ourselves. Geez, that is just so funny how that keeps coming up. Okay, let's get over here to YouTube. Kathy, risk-taking. Ooh, you turned a work upside down and destroyed it. Oh, how powerful. So I feel I'm surrounded by new guides, feeling very good and different things while meditating. I'm not sure how to ask the right question. You're welcome. Yeah, new guides. So more coming in for you, Kathy. It's like you're on this new path of just being open to what else, sort of like the new, like we talked about, can you be open? Can you take the risk? Can you look at things differently, including your art? And if you turned it upside down and destroyed it, you certainly did look at things differently. So I think what I'm going to do, Kathy, I'm going to pull a card here from Tarot. Let's just go a quick, and then Deanna, I see you're here next. So I'm going to get here. This is for Kathy. Oh, Kathy. Okay. Okay. So Kathy, in the past, we had the Page of Cups. Here you go, Instagram, for you to see. Kathy, this is for you to see. So in the past, it was the Page of Cups, and this was this is very sensitive. This is like the little one who wants to, rescue all the bugs and the birds and take care of the kitties. I love the Page of Cups. but really learning about what fills the cup, figuring that out. Like, how do I nurture the cup being my heart, the emotions, my feelings? How do I do that in the past? Then we come to the present, which is the Page of Pentacles, 2 pages. Page of Pentacles. Pentacles is our home, health, money, and work, which is very much also our art, Kathy, which can come from the emotion part. But the page is where we go to learn. The page is the student. The page wants to say, how do I do this? This Page of Pentacles is like the really responsible kid who snowplows to make money, who has a piggy bank, right? Who's really learning how to be resourceful. And this is sort of in the present, but it is in the learning stage. It's in the beginning, the student type of stage. So it's where we start to learn something new. And then this is the card that flipped out backwards, and it was the 2 of Swords. And when we see the 2 of Swords, oftentimes it is a decision. It's one of 2 things. We have to make a choice. But we see she's blindfolded, and the swords are sort of crossing the heart. And sometimes what we're doing is we're leaving our heart out of the decision making. We are not seeing all of the possibilities, and we're going a lot in our head to try to think this through, to try to find reason about something, to try to find it, something in this world that can apply to that. But we're leaving out the heart piece, which is the pure intention piece. And if we're leaving that out, we're only left with the head piece that runs us around in circles. And it's hard for us to make a decision. It's hard for us to make a choice. It's hard for us to see anything with great clarity. So in terms of these 3, I think there's this openness in the Page of Pentacles to figure out, how do I go about my art? How do I go about my expressing, my risk taking, right? How do I go about that? But there's a little bit of a conflict with the 2 of Swords, and to say maybe you're leaving out the little heart piece, the pure intention piece, by trying to think about how can it be more in a practical piece, which is the pentacle piece. So I think in terms of this new looking at things, it's an integration of these 2. It's not an either or. It's an integration. This is the polarity. This is the integration. Okay. All right. Let's get to Deanna. So Deanna, what is important to remember or keep in mind when working to overcome rooted fears, traumas, as we move into a new phase of life? Hard to word that one. Actually, you worded it beautifully. What is important to remember or keep in mind when working to overcome deep-rooted fears and traumas as moving forward? First of all, I will say all of these cards that I pulled for the general message, all of them would be helpful, because if we can remain in the present moment, it's where the fear and the trauma doesn't really exist. So that's one. Trying to remain there, experiencing things as they come in the current situation. Friends, that means seeking out, whether it's a friend or a counselor or a group, seeking something out that can be supportive to that process of overcoming it, versus keeping that cycle going because it feeds a certain kind of story. And then pure intention, of course, coming to, can you get beyond the fear and the trauma? Can you get beyond that to get to who you are authentically? It's hard, but envy this card that came up, which is suggesting we're all the same. And therefore, if you can see yourself the same as everyone else, then the fear, you know, we have fear when we make differences, right? When we pit ourselves against someone else, that's where fear comes in. But when we're all the same, there's nothing to fear. I don't say this lightly, by the way. And then we have magical blessings, which is, you know, whatever you're going through, you're being guided. So all of these cards here can be really supportive, Deanna. I am going to pull another card for you, though, in the Power of Surrender deck. And it is really something how the cards that come out for one person, come out for another person, come out for another. When I look at the table, which you all don't see, and I look down and I see all these cards here, it is amazing how they all combine to tell a unified story. So let's, apparently tossing half the deck out is just how I'm shuffling today. So let's get a card for Deanna on overcoming fears and traumas. Okay. Surrender obsessive thinking. Yeah, the thing I like about this deck is it sort of doesn't mess around. Surrender obsessive thinking. If you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. So I think it goes back to everything that I was just saying about, here's the card for Instagram, and here's the card for YouTube. But I think it goes back to everything I was just saying about remaining in the present moment and experiencing the current situation fully and truly, and sitting with whatever that is, and not going with the cycle, the thing that has been happening, right? Turn the dilemma over to spirit. I mean, it's everything that's here, and whether that spirit is your tribe, your friends, a counselor, you know, a religious leader, whatever it is, including that in your process, right? We don't have to go through fear and trauma by ourselves. Sometimes when we talk about it and we put it out there and we get the support we need, we take the power away from it, or at least we change the dynamic that we have with it. And the minute with any relationship, so whether it's with a person or a habit or routine or obsessive thinking, the minute we change one piece of that dynamic, we have shifted the whole thing. So it no longer can operate the same way it's been operating the minute we do one thing different, because it's interrupted it. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Did anyone else want a card or I can do that before we call it. So this will be on replay. You know, you can watch the messages again. In terms of the general messages, feel free to share the video, tag people in it, like it, comment on it, whatever works for you. I appreciate all of the engagement. Again, that does help just widen our circle and bring more people in. So thank you. If you're not subscribed to my newsletter, I would say down below in YouTube, and then on the link in Instagram, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and I send out that a couple of times a month with just some little things in there. So thank you to all my current subscribers. And I think that looks like it. So I will say thank you. Thank you, Alice. Much love to you. A wonderful week to you as well. Our first full week of 2021. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your love, your support. your honesty and your openness. It's huge. It's really wonderful to have you. And I feel all of that energy. You're welcome, Carolina. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for just being. Yes, Kathy, big love to all. Yes. All right, everyone. Peace, present moment, precious time, friendship, pure intention. We've got this. Okay, take good care, and I will see you next time. Bye. YouTube, I get it. Click you next. Ciao, ciao.